It is now my distinct pleasure to introduce the recipient of World Trade Center St. Louis's 2015 Global Ambassador Award. As with years past, World Trade Center St. Louis has dedicated a tree in the name of the award winner on Government Hill near World's Fair Pavilion in Forest Park. The trees represent the efforts made by each recipient to grow St. Louis's image as a globally connected community. Now, St. Louis native Kevin F. O'Malley became the 31st United States Ambassador to Ireland in 2014. Since that time, no one arguably has done more to promote St. Louis on a global scale than Ambassador O'Malley. In 2015, he invited World Trade Center St. Louis and the St. Louis Regional Chamber to organize a high-level delegation of area leaders to expand business activity and explore new relationships between St. Louis and Ireland-based companies. That delegation was led by St. Louis Mayor Francis Slay and St. Louis County Council Chair Patrick Dolan. In addition to a schedule of strategic meetings and briefings, the ambassador graciously hosted the delegation, their Irish business clients, at his residence for a very special reception that was basically about promoting the St. Louis region. And we should note, they were fed Sugar Fire barbecue and they drank Budweiser beer. Ambassador O'Malley's leadership and outspoken support have directly impacted the nature of St. Louis's connectivity in Ireland. At a gathering of young tech entrepreneurs in Dublin, Ambassador O'Malley flagged New York, Boston, and the Silicon Valley on the map. "That's what you all think about," he said to them. And then he went on to talk for about 15 minutes about St. Louis. Ambassador O'Malley told the audience, "St. Louis is a lot like Ireland. People know each other. It's family-oriented, with good schools, centrally located, and affordable. There's opportunity in both directions," he said, for St. Louis businesses to expand to Ireland and for Irish entrepreneurs in St. Louis. Truly, Ambassador O'Malley embodies the definition and the character of World Trade Center's Global Ambassador Award. It is our honor to present the 2015 Global Ambassador Award to the Honorable Kevin F. O'Malley, United States Ambassador to Ireland. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome to the stage our U.S. Ambassador to Ireland, Kevin O'Malley.
Tá as áram bheith is in you, Insamor Dumor, Lerit live in you. How cool is this? I didn't think I would be coming home at all during my tenure as United States Ambassador, and here, because of the generosity of the World Trade Center, I am back home. This morning I woke up and I watched the sun rise through the arch, and I knew I was home. And it is great to see so many friends and so many relatives, and it's great that the World Trade Center has been so active in promoting trade in Europe and particularly in Ireland. And so I accept this award, but I accept it only with the thanks that I give to the people that came on the business delegation in May that has now yielded, beginning to yield, and will hopefully continue to yield fruit. I accept it on behalf of all those who are cleverly and effectively and creatively working to create and to broaden the bridge between the United States and Ireland, a bridge so wider so that many people can walk across it and so many people can benefit and profit from the bridge. Tom Hillman will talk in a few minutes about the globally looking global. But I would like to talk, if you don't mind, for a few moments about just a part of what that future is going to look like as it relates to the United States and to Ireland. So let me begin, if I may, with four items, 3 facts and 1 opinion. And I'll even tell you which is which, okay? The first fact is that Ireland is open for business. Ireland is open for business. The second fact is that's not a secret. Okay? Everybody in the world knows that Ireland is thriving and is open for business. And many people, and I see this every day all throughout Ireland, and particularly in Dublin. All across the world, people are flocking to Ireland to get a part of the kind of business activity that's being generated there. The third fact is that the world is shrinking, and the world is shrinking dramatically. It is shrinking dramatically, and the world is shrinking fast. So the world is getting smaller each and every day. And then the fourth thing I would mention at the outset is, this is the opinion, and that it is my opinion that the winners in this new economy will be the bold innovators. And I think everyone else is going to be, at best, in second place. So I went to Ireland almost exactly a year ago today, after President Obama nominated me in June and the Senate confirmed me in September. And as an aside, I would like to point out that I was one of the fortunate ones going through the Senate confirmation process. I had two senators, one Democrat and one Republican, Senator Blunt, who's here, Senator McCaskill, who's not, who actively supported my nomination, who sat at my confirmation hearing with me and sent the message to the other senators who were sitting in judgment of me that on a bipartisan basis, they thought that my nomination would be hopefully good for Missouri. It certainly has been good for one Missourian, but hopefully also good for the state. And I point out historically, a historical fact, that the dome of the Capitol was not struck by lightning, that one Democratic senator and one Republican senator sat in a bipartisan way. And I hope that if I don't do well, you won't hold it against Senator Blunt in the next election. I think that it was a powerful message that both Senator Blunt and Senator McCaskill work on Missouri issues together. And they both will tell you that. Each Senator McCaskill will tell you that about Senator Blunt, and Senator Blunt will tell you that about Senator McCaskill. And that makes us lucky that we have that bipartisan camaraderie on Missouri issues in our capital. So let me talk a little bit, if I can, about Ireland, and then a little bit about the United States, and then a little bit about Ireland and the United States together. Some of this is basic, and you know this, but let's see if putting it together helps give you the picture of what's happening. First of all, Ireland, as you all know, is an island. That fact simply means that Ireland must look globally. If they want to trade, they must look elsewhere in the world, and they are doing that. Ireland is a small island. As Father Finbar said, it's about half the size geographically of the state of Missouri. The Republic of Ireland has a population of about 4.5 million people. So it's a small island. They need, if they're going to trade, they need partners. They need to have other people in other countries working with them. Ireland, as you all know, is at the far west edge of Europe. You cannot go any further west. The Irish will often refer to the United States as the next parish over. That's the way they look at us. They will tell you quite candidly that the Irish have much more in common with Boston than they do with Brussels. Okay? They are looking our way. The fourth thing that I'd like to mention is that, also you know this, Ireland went through a terrible, terrible economic crisis recently, just about the same time that we were going through ours, except theirs was much, much worse. They had both a financial institution meltdown and a real estate and construction industry meltdown. And they were really devastated, and they were more than down on their luck. Unemployment went from 4.2% to over 15% in a year. They went through a recession, and then they went through a depression. And what the Irish did was remarkable after that. This is about 2007, 2008. They took a big austerity pill. They raised taxes significantly. They lowered services significantly in order to make it through their problems. You might contrast that with what's happened in Greece, for example. So the Irish took the pill, and To make a very long or 4-year story short, and to make a painful story not so painful, now unemployment is at a manageable level. It's still high, but manageable. The property values have risen to where they should be. The construction industry is back in business. The financial institutions are solid. And now Ireland is the fastest growing economy in the European Union. Their GDP, gross domestic product, is rising at about 3% a year. The average GDP in the other countries of the EU is about 1.5%. So they've doubled. They're actually in a position where they've doubled what their colleagues are doing in the EU. So Ireland is open for business. So let me talk a little bit about the United States then, switching over. So if you start in 2009, about the time that Ireland was beginning its forward momentum, since 2009, our economy has added 13 million jobs. We are in our 66th consecutive month of private sector job growth. Unemployment went from 10% to where it is now at 1.5%. Stock market valuations have doubled in those years since 2009. 17 million more Americans are insured than they were in 2009. Inflation for healthcare cost is lower now than it has been in 50 years. We're less dependent on foreign oil than we've been in decades. We have the highest graduation rate in our history. And with all that, we've cut our deficit by over 2/3. Our GDP is now approximately 3%, on par with Ireland's. So that's where we've been in the last couple of years. I can't comment on the progress made in Ireland with their economy, but I could comment, I guess, if I was still involved in political thoughts, that the statistics I just gave you from January of '09, when President Obama took office, would not be a bad way to start a third-term argument. So let's talk a little bit about the United States and Ireland together. Because of the tremendous amount of emigration from Ireland to the United States over the last several hundred years, 40 million Americans, 40 million of us, claim Irish ancestry of some type or another. That really is a familial link that we have with this small little island on the west side of Europe. Ireland has been the history of Ireland has been tremendously intertwined with our history, from the writing of our Declaration of Independence to the drafting of our Constitution to soldiers in our Revolutionary War to soldiers in our Civil War. The Irish have been involved in all of those things. Fast forwarding to last year, 2014, the trade between the United States and Ireland exceeded over $40 billion, which is an astounding number for an island of 4.5 million people. $40 billion. But the real number, where you really get the sense of the power of the relationship between the United States and Ireland, is that investment between our two countries as of last year was over $300 billion. It's a remarkable figure. There are 700 American companies now resident in and doing big business in Ireland. Some St. Louis companies like Enterprise, MasterCard, and now after the trade delegation in May, Unico. All of the tech leaders are headquartered now in Dublin. Facebook, Twitter, Google, Salesforce.com. All of the big pharma industry is now represented somewhere in Ireland. On the other hand, 250 Irish companies are now doing business in the United States, and as Senator Bond pointed out, Senator Blunt pointed out that with the rich agricultural possibilities we have here in the United States, 3 of the 4 biggest Irish companies are in the food industry: Glanbia, Kerry Foods, if you like that Kerry butter that they've been selling here in the United States for a long time, and Greencore. Those are big Irish food companies, just to name that one industry. CHR is a large building company that is now resident in the United States. And our two countries And these companies have been supporting each other and creating a good ecosystem to survive. And let me give you two examples of that, very recent examples. When Ireland was going through its downturn from the year 2007 to 2011, essentially, the United States invested more money in Ireland during those 4 years. American companies invested more money in Ireland during those 4 years than they had in the previous 58 years. So in other words, when Ireland was down on its luck, and when the Irish weren't betting on Ireland, the United States private industry was betting on Ireland. On the other side of the ledger, in the United States today, there are more Americans working for Irish companies than there are Irish people working for American companies in Ireland. So this is a real two-way street that we have developed between the United States and Ireland. Now, why is that? Why is this tiny little island of half the size of our own state with a population of 4.5 million people, why is it that we do so much business with them? And the reasons are, I think most people agree with them, and I'm going to give you one that I think is the real kicker. Ireland is an English-speaking country. It's a big thing. The Irish workforce is exceedingly well educated. Even during the downturn, the emphasis that the Irish place on second level and third level, high school and college education is really remarkable and quite impressive. Ireland is in the Eurozone. They use the euro, unlike the UK, which means that you're only translating your dollars once. You're not translating them twice, dollars to pounds to euros. You're just going dollars to euros, euros to dollars. Makes a lot of difference. Ireland has a very low and a very transparent tax system. They have a corporate tax rate of 12.5%. And as the Prime Minister of Ireland, the Taoiseach, is want to say, the 12.5 is not going up, it's not going down, and it's not going away. The interesting thing about the tax policy in Ireland is it's transparent. And everybody knows what's happening coming in. On the flip side, the personal tax rate in Ireland is quite high. The real reason, though, to me, the real reason why there was $40 billion in trade and there's $300 billion in investment is simply the fact that we get one another. Okay? We get the Irish get us. We like doing business with Ireland. They like doing business with us. And that has really been an amazing and a beautiful story to watch unfold. So what can we do to broaden the bridge so that more people can walk across, that more people in Ireland can profit from doing business in America and more Americans can profit from doing business in Ireland? The first that I would point out is a program initiated by President Obama called Select USA. And I led a delegation of Irish businesses. This is inward investment into the United States. I led a delegation of Irish businesses to the United States that they wanted to invest and expand here in this country. And we started out, we had 10 companies that came, and the rate of hooking them up has been really phenomenal. So we're going to continue to do that. We'll have another Select USA venture in next March, where we'll bring more Irish companies to the United States, to Washington, and we have really just a phenomenally large trade show. The president will come and speak, and the results have been good. On the outward side, for people wanting to invest in, Americans wanting to invest in Irish companies or wanting to expand their business in Ireland, the American Chamber of Commerce in Ireland is probably the most active and the most efficient one in the system. They answer questions, they support people trying to get through their first transatlantic transaction, and it is a wonderful organization that I personally have seen translate into success. One of the things that we're not particularly good at, there was a trade show in Ireland in the early spring. I went there. There must have been 4,000 or 5,000 people that came to this travel show to see where they should go in the United States. people in Ireland come to the States frequently. It's not uncommon to talk to people who have been to Boston and New York and San Antonio and to San Francisco multiple times. A Disney World. I forgot I should have had a Disney World. I should have put Disney World first. I went through every booth that was there, and Missouri wasn't represented. Nobody came from Missouri to try to entice the Irish to come here. Nothing from St. Louis, nothing about our arch, nothing about the art museum, nothing about the zoo. So we just defaulted on that. And when we get people to come to our city and see it and appreciate the beauty, appreciate the people that are here, we win. But if we default and we're not interested, we don't show interest, then we're not getting anywhere. I would like to add that there is a treaty being negotiated right now called TTIP, Transatlantic Trade and Investment Partnership, which is going to help this bridge building immensely. TTIP will reduce tariffs, will reduce unnecessary restrictions that apply when a company in America wants to work in the EU, particularly Ireland, or a company in the EU wants to work in America. And the large companies, IBM and Siemens, they figured out how to they have lots of lawyers and lots of accountants, and they can do all these things. But TTIP is designed for small businesses and medium-sized businesses, probably the ones that you're most interested in. And it's to strip away all of the bureaucracy that will keep you from doing business in Ireland, or the Irish from doing more business here in the U.S. And that is a thing that we're looking forward to in the next year, to see if we can get that through the Congress, and it will benefit both sides of the Atlantic. The other thing that we can do, almost everyone here in this room could do, and that is to get involved in what we call the J1 visa program. Each year, the Irish send more students. This is a 4-month visa for Irish students, generally in the 20 to 21-year-old age group, to come to the United States to travel and to work. More students from Ireland come onto this program than students from any other country in the world. It is a very important part of their education to come to the United States. It's great for us. We get the best and the brightest. They come to our country. We get to see them. We get to meet them. But we're always looking for people who will help, people who will board one of the students for a couple of months, people who will offer them a seasonal job, so that these people can come to, for example, St. Louis and go back to Ireland and talk about St. Louis. By default, they go to Boston, they go to New York, they go to San Francisco, because that's where they've always been, because we haven't been involved in it. But I hope that you'll give that some thought, because not only is it pleasant to have one of these bright, ambitious Irish students with you, it really sends the message back to Ireland that St. Louis is in the game. So let me conclude by saying that we need to broaden and strengthen this economic bridge, or, if you will, we need to rev up this wonderful economic engine that exists between the United States and Ireland. I point out, and I can't emphasize this enough, and I think you all know this also, this is not a city issue, and this is not a county issue, and this is not a Metro East issue. Nobody cares, okay? It's a regional issue. It's the St. Louis region. Nobody outside of St. Louis City, St. Louis County, or Metro East wants to hear about our divisions. We need to promote a region. Not a Democratic issue, not a Republican issue. It's not a business issue, and it's not a labor issue. It's a regional issue. How do we promote our region to Ireland? It's a regional, and it's an all-hands-on-deck issue. We've been building, for example, the T-Rexes of the world, the Cortex, the Arch Grants, the Jim McKelveys of the world. We need to attract and to build on, to widen this bridge so that there can be more traffic on it between Ireland and the United States. We need vigorous and imaginative trade exchanges like we had in May, which has now yielded some fruit. We need groups. We also need individuals. Yesterday morning we had breakfast with an Irish entrepreneur from the financial sector who was interested in doing business in St. Louis and was making a site visit. We need to create a global mindset. We need to look past man-made boundaries and man-made barriers. We have to learn a successful region has to learn how to work together to create a supportive network and a kind of an ecosystem that supports innovation, that supports creativity, that supports entrepreneurship. We need to look for opportunities to spread the virtues of this region. I recently invited President Higgins, the President of the Irish Republic, to come to St. Louis, and I hope one day he'll have a chance to come here and see the great community that we have. It will remind him of his home, both in his original home in Galway and now his adopted home in Dublin. He'll see the pace, he'll see the families, he'll see the friendly, warm greeting, and that will take a message back to Ireland. We need to be bold and we need to be innovative. So the St. Louis connections with Ireland, we have the familial relationship, we have the cultural relationship, we have the historic this historic relationship. We have far more in common than we have differences. So, as I said, Ireland is absolutely open for business. I want to thank you very much for this kind recognition. This region has a great deal to offer and a great deal to be proud of, and I hope that you won't be shy about singing the virtues of this wonderful community, not only to Ireland, but everywhere else. Thank you very much for an opportunity to come home. It's great. It's been a year, and I truly do miss St. Louis. And go Cardinals.